Former Information and Communication Minister sentenced for life told Gambia's Truth Commission that former president was mentally imbalanced. China continues to partner with Africa to help contain the spread of COVID-19 using the Wuhan experience. Nigerians express commitment in the strengthening of the country's blood bank to save more lives in times of need. This and more coming on The World Today. Many thanks for joining us. This is Africa TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin. I am Amadou Kante and now the news in detail. Now, former Minister of Information and Communication who was sentenced to life on charges of treason in 2012 on Tuesday appeared before the TRRC to narrate his ordeals under the regime of ex-President Jammeh. Amadou Jane, who also holds a U.S. citizenship, was released after 15 months following international pressure on the government. Here's more details of that in this report.
The TRRC on Tuesday featured the testimony of former Minister of Information and Communication Infrastructure, who was sentenced to life on charges of treason by a special criminal court in 2012. Amadou Jane, who also holds a U.S. citizenship, was released after 15 months following international pressure on the exiled former president Yahya Jammeh. Dr. Jane testified that former President Jammeh was not predictable, for he could always do what one didn't expect of him. On whether the title chameleon would serve as a suitable description of the former head of state, Jane replied that change in colors would not make a good picture. For Jammeh, he said, was mentally unstable.
He was ephemeral. He changed color and mood frequently. Would that describe him well?
Amunda mosafoko abele ko nyankonkorongo. Me yalon ka kala kuloro na la kolu falim falinne wati o wati.
In fact, I thought he was mentally unstable, so yours may be even better, but I believe he was mentally unstable.
Governance under the former ruling APRC paved the way for appointments of errand boys, as well as appointments among secretaries of state, now known as ministers, depending on their passive loyalty to the tunes of the then president. The former information minister, whose crime was the distribution of T-shirts bearing the slogan, "Coalition for Change, the Gambia, End to Dictatorship Now," considered himself among the senior ranks of oppositions in the view of former President Jammeh.
I think one clear example is Mamadou Sallah, who was tourism minister, and myself.
And Mamadou Sallah, is he known by any other name?
Sillabai.
And why would he refer to the two of you as opposition?
In the case of Mamadou Sallah, even when he would engage the president in sometimes endless on policy matters, where you would have a few other ministers telling him to stop or telling us not to go any further. He would go until the president, essentially ends that debate.
In consideration of the prevailing factors on assignments to senior civil service positions, Dr. Jane admitted that he didn't have hope of lasting long on his ministerial position. As a result, he began to look out for another leg to stand on.
I didn't expect to last more than 3 years because of the constant hiring and firing.
With that realization, did it compel you to put up any plans?
Yes. Beyond the National Media Commission issue, I felt I needed to register a company. So once I'm fired, I can go into private enterprise.
For the same crime, Dr. Jane was sentenced. 3 others, Modu Keita, Ibrahim Jallo, all Gambians and a Nigerian national, Michael Uche Thomas were each sentenced to 3 years with a hard labor for sedition in January 2012. Reporting for Africa News, I am Amadou Kante.
And from the report there, next, of course, we report on matters of the COVID-19 because China has continued to provide more medical and technical assistance for many African countries in the fight against the COVID-19 global pandemic. Both Algeria and Sudan welcome Chinese medical experts who are sharing their COVID-19 experience in dealing with the deadly virus. The Chinese doctors have visited different hospitals in Sudan to help treat coronavirus patients as the country became the highest affected country in East Africa. Here's more details of that.
Frontline medical contact between China and Africa. In Algeria, when Chinese doctors first entered isolation wards at a major hospital for COVID-19, they were greeted warmly by local patients.
Hi. Hello. فيكم إن شاء الله.
أنا فرحانة بيكم كي جيتوا لعندنا ويعطيكم الصحة وتر خيركم وربي يجازيكم.
إن شاء الله. Do you have a cough؟ قال كلامك أكيد تسألي ولا لا؟
أنا نسأل.
Yes. Yes. Do you have a sputum? No. Diarrhea? No. Go.
The facilities are good. The wards are equipped with necessary devices for COVID-19 patients. The staffing is sufficient and they're taking good care of the patients.
It is a great pleasure for us to share our experiences. China is a step ahead, witnessing the early cases of COVID-19. So its experience allows us to understand and predict the future state of our patients.
And in Sudan, which has reported the highest number of COVID-19 cases in Eastern Africa, Chinese experts have entered the ICU.
For now, we have 6 patients already. 6 patients, okay. So this is patient Zainab, he's already ventilated. Oh, okay. He's been here for around 4 days already. Already intubated. Ready incubation? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's very severe. It's very severe.
This is the newest and the largest hospital in Sudan. It started operation since May, and it has a capacity of 480 beds. And now this hospital is designated for receiving the COVID-19 patients. Currently, there are a total of over 70 patients living in this hospital, living in the wards right behind me.
Most of those patients in this hospital have mild or moderate symptoms.
Heart rate. Yes, 129. It's too high. So how about this patient? Is it hurt? Okay. That's okay, right? That's okay. But only for that.
The Chinese team visited 7 hospitals in Sudan, providing suggestions on treatment.
We showed them our capacity of the isolation centers, and we showed them our little experience during these last 3 months. And we'll also do more presentations and video conference with your experts there in China.
After our visit, we'd like to take 1 or 2 samples for an in-depth case study. We will also discuss the cases remotely with other experts in China if necessary.
So far, China has sent over 20 medical teams overseas to help combat the coronavirus, 7 of them to African countries.
China there supports Algeria and Sudan in the fight against COVID-19. And from that report, we come back home and head back to the TRRC because a mild-to-prison inmate who was admitted of crimes of murder and, of course, robbery told the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission raised a flag about the conditions of prisons in the Gambia. He revealed the poor conditions of prison cells due to poor diet, lack of medical support, and the occurrence of brutal torture and lack of mercy for human beings. Let's have more details of that in this report.
A mild-to-prison inmate told the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission on Monday that the conditions of prison cell is harsh and potentially life-threatening as a result of poor ventilations and lighting. Baba Gali Jallow said he has spent more than 1 year in the country's central prison without a bed, mattress, blanket, or a mosquito net. His testimony further revealed that the lifestyle of prisoners is such that one has to adapt to shortage of food and potable drinkable water.
He said that they should disembark those that were on the pickup. They brought them in. When they took them in, they took me. They took the Sarahule boy. They took someone called Samba Doroba and Sunkaro Kante. They took us to the police line. That was on a Tuesday. After that happened and we arrived, they took Samba Doro and others and put them at one corner. They asked me to remove my shirt. I asked them for what? There was one boy standing behind me at the time. That was how he came. He held my shirt and he tore it. He went and stood where he was before. Farmer Jallow told me to remove my trousers and my shoes. I asked him for what? He told me just undress. The boy standing behind me, he had a wear. That was what he used to hit me here, and it was torn.
According to his narrations, prisoners suffered many hardship, most of it from beatings by authorities that is supposedly there to protect the rights of inmates. Mr. Jallow identified the uniform of those cruel men as Sikuba Jaju and Ibrahima Jame, operation commander at the time, who was also known as chief torturer in the prisons. The inhuman treatment, coupled with lack of access to medical support, Jallow stated, led to the deaths of many prisoners.
There were several instances. Because you will fall ill and you report sick, the medic will book you and refer you to the hospital. But before you leave, they usually take the list to the operations, and the operations will take it to David Colley. But those that he wants to go to hospital, those are the ones he allows to go. Those that he doesn't want to go to the hospital, he will make them stay.
Jallow himself has his beating experience long before being admitted at Mile 2. He told the TRRC that he was enlisted into a daily schedule of torture during his detention under the police station that resulted to the wounds on his back.
The one they call Njiranyang, he said when a prisoner is locked up, he does not have rights anymore. All they have is privileges. Yes? And that guy, if you give him a pen and paper and asked him to write his statement, he wouldn't be able to do so. And he's at the chief office, and he's there on provocation alone. Yes?
Whether the conditions of the prisons have improved following the change in government in 2017. Mr. Jallow argued that the food menu remains the same for inmates in the central prison. Baba Gali Jallow is serving a life sentence after being convicted of murder and armed robbery. Reporting for iAfrican News, I am Aissatou Tamba.
Well, witnesses continue to appear before the Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission. And from that report there by Aissatou Tamba, we will now take a break and come back shortly with the remaining of the stories. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Africa TV, and now to the rest of the stories. Now, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education and partners have discussed on modalities and mechanism to ensure the safety of students and teachers ahead of the reopening of the school, starting with the examination classes. Government of the Gambia announced the easing of certain COVID-19 emergency restrictions, which featured the reopening of the grade 9 class of the upper basic school. Secretary General of the National Commission of UNESCO, NATCOM, Usman Senghor, said during the meeting on Tuesday, the reopening of the school is to ensure the regular transition in the academic calendar.
The non-validating of this academic year has a lot of implications. One is a huge financial implication that the government of the Gambia will not be able to sustain for the next coming years. That means that we're going to duplicate grades. For example, if we don't open schools right now, that means that next year we'll have 2 grade 12s, and next year we are going to have 2 grade 9s. Technically, the education system will not be able to accommodate such kind of situation. That is why we have to open schools and then allow early transition. For the time being, so we're going to ensure that in each schools we have at least no more than 20 students in a classroom. That is a reassurance to parents, and the Ministry of Education is working with partners to ensure that all the necessary sanitation is in place. We're going to fumigate schools, we're going to provide hand washing facilities, and then also we're going to train teachers to at least test students, ensure that whoever is sick in the school will be quickly identified.
Usman Senghor speaking there as the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education and partners discuss on modalities to allow students to go back to school. Next to Nigeria, because Nigeria has one of the lowest blood donation rate in the world. According to the World Health Organization, the West African country barely provides 25% of blood demand in the country, leaving many lives at risk. But a non-profit-making blood bank organization is bent to change the narratives by using technology to inspire and connect many with health facilities to donate blood. Here's more details of that in this report.
35-year-old Nigerian Lydia Ghana suffers from sickle cell anemia. The life-threatening disorder means there's a shortage of healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen in her body. Lydia knows what it's like to depend on blood transfusion to survive. Since her first sickle cell crisis at age 3, the constant trips to hospital have been traumatizing. But what frightens Lydia most is the long wait for costly blood donations.
Usually, for me, the person who donates blood for me used to be my mom, but she's of age now, so she can't really donate blood for me. You know, it's hard. It's hard when you walk into a hospital and you need blood immediately. You have to buy blood. The whole process is messy, and this is I don't think it's right. Blood isn't something that you should trade with.
According to the World Health Organization, Nigeria has one of the lowest blood donation rates in the world. Its 200 million strong population has an annual blood demand of 2 million units, but it barely meets 25% of that demand. WHO says that only 10% of donors do it for free, 60% do it for money or other gains, while 30% only donate to family members. But Haima Health Initiative, a non-profit blood bank organization, is seeking to change this narrative. The initiative uses digital technology to save lives like Lydia's by connecting hospitals and patients with donors. The network already has more than 1,000 donor subscribers who have given 300 pints of blood.
I'm actually a sickle cell patient, so this initiative is kind of personal to me because I understand how it is getting blood. Whenever we fall sick, we help get donors. Through our database. We have a database where people sign up to be voluntarily the blood donor, and whenever there's a blood request, we go to our database and check for the matching blood group and the blood donor. Then we call the blood donors and give them the address of the hospital, and they go donate blood. We've been using social media lately, social media and then phone calls.
One of the major things the organization seeks to do is overcoming the myths many Nigerians believe about blood and blood donations, and their campaigns are inspiring more to donate.
I realize each time I donate blood, I feel good. So that's what actually inspires me, because I feel I'm saving life. As a first aider.
If you're donating blood, you are saving lives. Number 2, you give your body an opportunity to form new cells. A voluntary blood donor will have a lower incidence of having cancers, of having cardiac problems too.
A WHO study in 2019 shows Nigeria's blood collection capacity is at an average 600,000 units per annum, grossly insufficient for its population of 200 million. Without a cultural shift to voluntary donations, the country may struggle to meet its demand for life-saving blood transfusions.
And from the report there in Abuja, Nigeria, finally we end this news bulletin with some sports news. Of course, football to be precise, because Tanzania's Premier League football competition is set to resume after a long break due to the COVID-19 outbreak in the country. The government had suspended all sporting-related activities as part of measures to stem the spread of the disease. Players and coaches are all excited for resumption of the league, and the authorities are not complacent with the health protective guidelines. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Young Africans Football Club, or Yanga, has resumed training. It is taking precautions as it gears up for its remaining matches in Tanzania's Premier League. The coach is already working on ways to end the season on a high.
Generally, the players are good. They're doing well. Based on the performance I've seen, we need to work with the strikers to be able to use the opportunities we get.
The government had stopped sporting activity for 8 weeks due to the coronavirus pandemic. With things slowly returning to normal, the team is taking part in 3 friendly matches to get back in shape. Players are happy with the progress made.
So far, so good. So far, so good. The practice sessions are going well. We are trying our best. You know, staying for 2 months without practicing together is not easy. But if you look at the improvement from the first day of practice, I can say the progress is good.
Yanga are hard at work. While chances of winning the Premier League may be slim, the team is hoping that their efforts prove that they are still a force to be reckoned with in Tanzanian football, paving the way for success in the future.
Jitu Waziri has been a die-hard Yanga fan for more than 30 years. He believes that time spent without training may have an effect on his team's performance. To him, lowering expectations is the right thing to do.
We shouldn't be in a hurry, because football doesn't require haste. Football requires preparation. So I think that this coach wants to use these 3 matches as trials to observe the performance of the players and see what to do.
As training continues, Yanga is looking ahead. They are hoping that the optimism and hard work will enable them to reach their goals this season.
And that sports report there in Tanzania finally brings this news bulletin to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, you can also look on our website on africa.tv. Well, once again, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
man kontaan boy mu ne boy nga nyim bata mu be taki tubabu du boy boy nga nakodo mu be doku boy nga kina nyin kenni moy boy pura e bungolo nyi boro na bungo hani lento am futaji boy de jibe lu njumala ya fanyi koy babun lola ama me ila bungo jibe abadane jara foyte lafta fula nyi man balwo kalam mu balwo fo balwo ko burlo ko fanan kele boy nyim bungo jala be nyamende abe mu balwo la do boy
ñing kunna suniata ta www.baluwo.com anim baluwo isela bulloran jorangol be sang anila kudula asatare mambata jorangol mem ko cemento kenyo babarol nil peruol woni nga nyon jamal ta baluwo.com yin jorangol be sang ila dinkira bado adungite batala je anim baluwo ifangol marate la kudula.
Assalamu alaikum musidɓe am fulɓe on calminama neɗɗo fof kala ɗo woni e inde muɗum e yettode muɗum e ko kibaru gimmorɗo en to TRRC banggal biyetegal TRRC eɗen fof eɗen gandi TRRC ko député ɓe men darningal damal ɗi darna tan fi humpitade bonandeji bannoɗi e nder laamu Yaya Jammeh ɗum woni gila July 1994 aranma ha January 2017 ɗum noon waɗi ha TRRC ɗi ñaago yimɓe ɓe ganduɗama hoorema kala mo ganduɗa ka kippanoɗo walla aɗa heɓno mette yoɓe bakkilo ɓe punta haalgol noon e télé wona forcé e haalgol e télé wona forcé kono noon kala jiɗɗo haalde e télé kadi TRRC ɗi jogani ɗum e damuɗe e folo woni a wawan ar kala e télé yimɓe jiiya ko hombo haalta ɗo mo ganduɗa ɗum weɓirani ɗum kadi ɓenne kadi ɓe jogii bangal gongal ɗum woni jomirawo on o haala kono taw haala makko ka waylitte goɗɗo andata ko hombo haalta ɗum si wona ɗum taɓɓel ngel woni jomirawo on haala kono yeeso makko ngo funtata e télé he si wona ɗum noon kadi e jomirawo on no wawi wakkilo o ara o okkira statement makko kala mo ganduɗa o yiɗa haal o yiɗa funtine he télé o yiɗa ɗemgal makko wayle kono konngol makko no wawi waɗede record ko min mbiyata statement tekas ɗum woni yimɓe bindoɓe ɓe ɓaga konngol e yimɓe ɗi ɗum noon kala jiɗɗo ɗum minen jogui victim support unit ɓen mbawa ɗon haalande no mbaɗirton nombaji mabɓe noni 7704988 7704988 7704988 so wona ɗum aɗa wawi noddu statement tekas ɗum woni yimɓe ɓe ganduɗama hoorema ko ɓen ƴettata konnguli moɗon hen oɗo number 7415937 7415937 7415937 ko oɗo woni kibaru ceniɗo gimmorɗo en to TRRC on jarama.